want you to get a sense of how monumental Metal Gear Solid the series is. Today, we're going to focus on Metal Gear Solid 4 because the announcement for the Master Collection Volume 2 is giving us Metal Gear Solid 4. I want you to go down the rabbit hole of a almost 40 years now series that has continued to evolve the gaming industry. It's helped pioneer not only its genres that it uses, but everything about gaming, whether it's the cinematic aspects, the fourth wall breaking elements, amazing boss fights, so much more. Now I want to take you to the grand finale, the chronological side. Metal Gear Solid 4 is the end. But it truly can be just the beginning. I want to share a deep dive starting right now. Welcome to Metal Gear Explained. Let's do this. So the first thing that I want to note is you don't have to be a longtime fan. You don't have to play every game. I say that because I know many people who all started playing Metal Gear at different points. They played different games. And I know quite a few people who started playing Metal Gear with Part 4 in mind. And for somebody like me, it's ludicrous because it is so many deep cuts and references to the whole series in Part 4 that it is super interesting for someone to start there. And I want you to go back to the first time you played this, and if you haven't, I want you to join me on this journey as we go forward. Here we go. Here on out, we're going to be looking at footage from Metal Gear Solid 4 on the PlayStation 3. It is coming to modern consoles and the PC with the Master Collection 2026. And what I want to talk about first is your sense, because that's the theme of this game. And your sense is more than just who you are. It's your will or your spirit. Who are you? Is that something that you can create digitally? Is it genetically passed on, your will or your spirit? Or does it die when you do? Let me know, because your unique perspective is what matters in this game. They take you down that rabbit hole and allow you to find yourself. And that journey is what this whole game experience is themed after, the concept of sense. And this comes after games like Part 1 that focused on your genetics, or Part 2 that focused on your cultural information, the memes. Even Part 3, how the times can define us. All of these things cannot break your will or your spirit. It's up to you to live. And that's always been the message in every Metal Gear I've ever played. All these soldiers, all these warriors dying for nothing. And at the end, it's up to you to live. You to have that will, continue the fight, or to continue the love. With that in mind, you get introduced to Part 4, the world economy. And in the world economy, it is absolutely relentless. In this game, it starts off by telling you that war has changed and how it's controlled and manipulated. These soldiers that are rebels are using regular weapons, but everybody else in the world has ID weapons that nobody can use unless they unlock them. We kind of live in one of those times where you're going to have some kind of ID or some type of representation to even move around this earth, given the hard times that the world continues to fall on. Hideo Kojima, the director, pretty much hit the nail on the coffin talking about this in this game, whether it's the global economy driven by war, how it's not about oil or different things anymore. It's just a monetization. Even this video, it's monetized. Hopefully a commercial pops up right as I say it. Jokes aside, that's what you see these PMCs. They're dominating, taking over because of profit. They're hired, and the rebels are fighting against them, trying to at least. But when millionaires and billionaires get together, you guys know what happens. The profits never stop. War will never end. Continues forever. And this is the system. And this is our system in the real world or in the game. And that's where this game parallels are powerful. And it's basically ID tags, mentality regulation, removing the messy consciousness and fears, and just controlling people. It's a heavy topic, but it's presented in this game through the whole game. You're just getting introduced to it in this first scene. And you're seeing a government that's willing to do anything to control the people. It's a powerful tool the game offers. You know, it's a political statement that this game has always been thriving off of doing a good job with. But a lot of people don't know, it's also very personal. It's also very direct about us as the players, the character that we're controlling, the series as a whole. That's why you see our character being aged. That's why you see him so old. He's aging and he's decaying just like the series was. 40 years later, we're still here, fighting back to stay alive, decaying away, aging. Old Snake. Is time accelerating us? Or it's just moving too fast for us to keep up? This is the meta commentary of the series itself. The hero is tired. Even mechanics make you feel old. Your back is broken, hurt, you're down. But you're trying. Continue to fight back, even as Old Snake. This series started in the 1980s as an action hero. Now he's dying. This is his final mission. And that's where this game takes you through that journey. As somebody who played every single iteration as they released, the original Metal Gear game, made it to New York City. Shout out to my cousin. And I played it in the 80s. I had a hard time with the game. I was just a kid, but continued trying and enjoying it till I borrowed the game forever from him and ended up beating it later on. And that was the beginning. And as I played part 4, you're seeing here Old Snake related to me because I started getting older. The series started to, continue and change and evolve. That to me is powerful. I want to take a moment to acknowledge just seeing that you're watching, which is Hideo Kojima's masterpiece, if you ask me. He always references himself. He always nods in a fun, playful way where there's no place for Hideo, which is him. This is the kind of themes that were present even in the teaser trailers where they teased other characters taking over Snake's role. And now we're playing an old Snake. It's not Big Boss. If you don't know who Big Boss is, we'll talk about him a little later. But this is one of the most important and pivotal elements. Hideo Kojima's message, his themes, the camouflage you have to use to blend in with society, with politics, with war, even in the video game space. Some people rather hear others' opinions to form their own rather than to be who they really are. This game encourages you to live, encourages you to fight, with the sense being your strongest ally. Those are the kind of things that game offers that to me are special. Quick mention of Otacon, your best friend, your number one working partner, who not just a friend, basically you have a life mission with. It's deep. Those are the kind of things that are very interesting dynamics, and the game takes you through these flashbacks. You meet old Colonel, go remember the past, and that happens over and over. It's flashes of your life, your memories, your missions, your war, your trauma, the very purpose that you live for, probably will die for. That's a powerful tool. It's a beautiful one. I think people sometimes when they play this game might not remember how deep, meaningful that really is. Because you're trying to deal with all of that trauma from your childhood all the way leading up to all the wars that you were in. You're blending in just like your camo suit, where it is deeper than just mimicking the texture and color of things. It's special. And in the time when this game released, you can shake your controller to return back to who you really are. Which was a funny dynamic that existed in the game. This game had things like the iPod and so many more reference to real life things. And of course, product placement. But the key thing is you're still in line with who you are, how you are outside of all of it. And through this war, you're trying to find your way, trying to find your purpose. Again, you're aging, you're decaying. How good is your will, stamina, make it through all the fights, or you get taken out? Those are the kind of questions you have to think about as you play the game, because there's plenty of things going on. The mental health is a big factor. Your character can get so stressed out that they will faint, fall over, be vulnerable for a while. And this happens to people who don't master the game. Deal with that. Might seem like just gameplay, but there's a psychological element. Unlike most games, it was one of the best features because it really aids you manage. It's a survival tool. And I thought it was very interesting. I can't remember many games that do that kind of thing. And then again, said, all these stressors are things that happen in war, and they are traumatic. They do affect your aim when you're going to shoot. you will take a moment to rub your back when it's in pain because you have no psyche. And you have to recover. Read a magazine. Listen to some music, right? Jump in the box. There's a bunch of ways, but it's a powerful tool. It's a very cool one that they created for the game. I love that. I think it's important to remember how this game functions overall. Okay? You see all these soldiers. Biggest thing that I want you to take away and to understand is that these soldiers are actually at war with the rebels. So they are the top tier, highly paid soldiers. And then there's the rebels who just trying to have a little bit of freedom. And so while I totally understand that not everybody has, the fortune, they're probably doing it for their families. They're doing it for a bad cause. This is where you come in. You can help the rebels, or you can ignore both sides and have them both attack you on sight. The more you help the rebels, the more they become allies, and they'll even supply you with things and cheer you on and thank you. And it's a cool mechanic because you're caught in the middle of a war that isn't your own, but it really is. This is where the sense, aka meaningfulness of your will or spirit, what type of person are you? Are you fighting back for good? You're gonna just assassinate everybody, or you're gonna use non-lethal? This is where this whole system is amazing, in my opinion. That's why I love part 4. One of them was this mechanic here where there's war going on. These soldiers already love you because you took out a bunch of. You could even take out the tank and do even more things as you play the game, which basically enhances your relationship with them by doing so. Those are the kind of things that this game's design created. Remember, this is a PlayStation 3 game that revolutionized a lot of great mechanics. As you can see, you take out that, players cheer you on. Next thing you know, they're giving you gifts. They're like, thanks. So this is where the difference lies. Type of person, your sense, aka your will, your spirit. That's the deeper element. That's something I appreciate and love about this game. Now we're gonna move along, introduce you to somebody who basically helps you understand what's going on in the world. Drebin is a dealer. He's a launderer for weapons. He explains the SOP system, which is ID weapons, ID items. You basically can't use anything without it being matching your ID. But since he can unlock them, he becomes somebody you deal with. The catch is, this guy is a little fishy. There's backstory to him, which we're not going to do in this video, but I did want to kind of go through the process of meeting him. He starts helping you understand the battle that you're about to face. He wants to encourage you because guess what? He profits. The more war you bring, the more he makes. He has some really good war stories for his own life. He knows a lot about the enemies that we'll be covering and discussing today. I want to briefly go through just a little bit, hopefully help you guys understand what that's like. There is some epic boss battles in this game. Conversation is about Beauty Beast. First Beauty and the Beast story that I want to share, not of you, the main character, which is very true, but of your supporting cast. We have Johnny, who truly is cowardly. He poops his pants, he pees on himself, He's a very untrained soldier. At least that's what it seems. As the game goes on, you find out just who he is. And in fact, I actually say he's the hero of this story. He saves everyone multiple times. And his Beauty and the Beast story is victorious, but comes at a price. About his heritage and his parents before him and the effects that they caused leading up to his story. And being able to see the biggest beast of them all, Solid Snake. And this is where we go to our first true Beauty and the Beast moment, where a character that we saw as an innocent soul has become a true beast and is controlled by the system, the very system that we discussed, the issues with it. And so these horrors of war, this PTSD, this struggle that you face, sometimes you're strong enough to conquer them, but they still control you in some kind of way. This character, Marrow, someone we met in Metal Gear Solid 1, she happened to become a captain, become brave, become strong. But there's a story I didn't tell, which is how the nanomachines controlled her real fear, helped her be a leader. So is she really a beast? Can she be considered beauty with all the damage that the system has caused to control her and to suppress all her true fears and feelings, cut back all her emotions? That's the question. So here we are, facing our innocent soul turned into a beast. These are the kind of things this game introduces, shares so many details. But I think you might too want to kind of explain briefly how the system controls people through this neural nanomachines as they explain it. But I want to do it in an interesting way when I talk about the boss fight, what you can expect. The biggest boss fight that you'll face is these nanomachines. You're going to watch Liquid Snake control everyone, basically dominate. If you watch carefully, you'll see him basically activate and cause everybody's nanomachines to stop. What that does, it helps them be who they really are. So before, they had their fears suppressed, pain was suppressed, everything was controlled. The moment he activated, aka turning off these things, their senses, remember I said sense, has changed back. PTSD, the trauma, stress, the anger, every emotion that was suppressed has been unlocked. And everybody in the battlefield now has to suffer. This is where, as I explained, it's a societal issue where you're being controlled. You don't speak your mind. You don't ask the questions because you don't want to make things uncomfortable. Maybe you need to. Maybe you need to be more like Johnny here, who didn't take the suppressing nanomachines. He skipped out on it. That isn't really much of a spoiler, hopefully, for the new players, but as you can see, this is what happens to us in real life. Johnny, one who's considered the coward, didn't want to take those injections. Instead, he didn't have the suppression happen to him. So he had full control of himself forever, even if he might have looked cowardly. So this is what happens in our real life. We have to learn to be ourselves. And that's where this game touches deep about your will and your spirit. Who are you really? Have you tapped into that? And the metaphor, when you see Liquid, aka Ocelot, two characters, the parable. Who is he really? Is he Liquid or is he Ocelot? Does he even know? You can see you, the main character, our hero, can barely move. He's also suffering. And they deactivated the nano machine. So here we are, losing control, getting who we are, not understanding what is. I want to kind of take a moment before we continue with bosses, talk about Sunny just a little. Truth is, this character is very powerful, a reference to the past games. Somebody who being saved, somebody who is important. Her and our lovely friend here, Naomi, is trying to figure out a solution. They want to solve them. He's asking for help. He's trying to help you save the day. Now, the question is, how are you willing to sacrifice and take a chance for somebody who betrayed you? And all the themes from part 1 and 2 and 3 all come back into play with these situations. The very person who injected you with nanomachines in part 1, she's asking for your help to save her. She wants to help you. These are the issues that we face. And the truth is, yes, anything and everything is possible. Maybe you need to know that. You need to feel encouraged. Put in the time and energy. Because there has to be hope. And as you see this kid, Sunny, aka Hope. You want darkness or you want it to be sunny? She's a part of the understanding and the development of all this. She's another person who's the unsung hero, helps solve, decode things. There's so many layers to this conversation that I would want to go down the rabbit hole, but I want to start introducing the Beauty and the Beast, the ones that are truly themed what they needed to be. See right here, one and the only, the laughing octopus. Decoy octopus is a combination, and the joy also. So part 1 and part 3, two different characters blended into this, forced to torture their family and laugh to survive. Really sad story, but is something where we get to understand the trauma, the effects of war, PTSD, and the power of this nanomachine that suppresses them. A very strong tool. So I suggest you to take in all that information and start to see where we go from there as we continue. There's plenty to discuss when it comes to characters. Laughing Octopus puts us through the battle, psychological battle, as well as they're hiding and using their decoys and manipulating the environment in this scenario, something that we're supposed to be good at. They end up doing. And again, you have to use your senses. Sometimes it's sight, sometimes it's hearing in this battle. And that's the beauty of it. This is the kind of thing that's revolutionary, breaking the fourth wall in different ways. Really interesting dynamics for the game. So you, the player, can also feel like the person. As I said, there's plenty more when it comes to these characters. I'll briefly mention them and showcase them a little. But the goal that I wanted to point out is Beauty and the Beast. Discussion about how the corporations create beasts out of beautiful things. This is a political statement, as well as a literal statement and a figurative one. There's a bunch of hidden secrets and fun facts with that. Have even returning characters like Psycho Mantis, so much more. It's one of those things that really dive deep to the core of this game that has inspired me to love this game. One of my favorites to play through experience. And that is why this video, to basically introduce you to part 4, to hint at the fact that it is very special. It's never been on PC and all the platforms, even on the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2, the way it's going to be August. So I wanted to take a little bit of time to introduce you. See here, O series will officially be there 2026 of August. We'll have all of the games. Part 4 is the newest edition with Peace Walker. You can get that right now. Okay. By the way, I'm not selling the game. This isn't a sponsored video. I just love the series, and I'm hoping somebody watches this and says, wow, that was kind of nice. And that's today's video. Hopefully you go out there and check it out for yourself. Video breakdowns will be popping up on screen now. If I earned a like, subscribe, and comment, it's appreciated. Y'all have a blessed day.